We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
The verdict is in. A jury has convicted former police officer Derek Chauvin in the murder of George Floyd.
Guilty! It was just unbelievable. It's almost, I can't even explain it in words, just so loved, just so loved.
Now at 4, the reaction from across the country and Washington state. Demands for racial equality. The Floyd case now a catalyst for national change.
And what's next? How long could Chauvin spend behind bars? This is a special edition of King 5 News at 4.
Guilty on all counts. The bombshell verdict against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin came down just after 2 o'clock this afternoon. And here's the moment the whole country was watching.
Verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Janner Castro.
I'm Greg Copeland. The jury reached its verdict after deliberating about 10 hours over 2 days. Let's take a look at the 3 counts they considered. Second-degree murder, punishable with a prison sentence up to 40 years. Third-degree murder, punishable by 25 years. And second-degree manslaughter, he faces up to 10 years in prison for that. Again, those are the maximum sentences, but under state guidelines, he could receive far less time in prison. Sentencing will take place in 8 weeks.
Heading live to Minneapolis now, where crowds are gathered in the streets, many of them celebrating. This is the area known as George Floyd Square. And here's what some had to say just after the verdict was read.
I mean, it was just unbelievable. It's almost, I can't even explain it in words, just so loved, you know? And then the sun shined through, like, you know, after all these clouds, and it was just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful, and I can feel, like, the spirit on me right now.
And I'm so excited to be alive and to be a part of the solution. And I say to all of our people, go home, celebrate in a way that's safe. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt anybody. Don't bother any stores. Just go home and celebrate. Restoration Incorporated, we're gonna have a big barbecue and we're gonna celebrate justice.
We are also keeping an eye on the reaction here in Western Washington from Seattle to Tacoma. We're also in Olympia this afternoon. Chris Daniels, let's begin with you. You have heard from the mayor and Seattle police, right?
Yes, Jessica, we've seen a flurry of statements from elected officials from the Seattle Police Department as well. And within the hour where I'm standing right now, we will see a press conference involving the mayor, the interim police chief, the city council president, and other dignitaries reacting to the verdict out of Minnesota. We have also seen reaction on Capitol Hill. You know that was the center of protests this summer in the area known as Chaz Chop, right by Cal Anderson Park. And we came across a young woman named Angel, who was part of those protests this summer and just happened to be in the intersection watching as the verdict was read. Here was her reaction.
It's overwhelming, the calm and the peace right now in Seattle. I figured for sure there would be stage for protest for, you know, a not guilty outcome. And I just can't believe it. This is a beautiful day for justice, man.
Yes, a sense of relief in her voice at the 3 guilty verdicts in Minneapolis. Here now the reaction that we've already received from Seattle's mayor and the Seattle Police Department. First, Mayor Jenny Durkin, a lengthy statement reading in part, the jurors in our system of justice have confirmed what we saw with our own eyes. George Floyd was murdered, and Derek Chauvin violated his most solemn duty to protect lives and uphold the law. The cruel and degrading murder of Mr. Floyd shook our nation, but for too many Black Americans, his murder reflected an all too often reality of the deep and systemic impacts of racism in our country. Here now, part of the lengthy statement from the Seattle Police Department. The Seattle Police Department knows that Mr. Floyd's murder was a watershed moment for this country. The eyes of the nation saw in horrible detail what so many have been fighting to change. The events of the past year have made clear the community's expectations of what police work should be. We again will hear from Seattle's interim police chief, Adrian Diaz, as well as Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin, scheduled about 45 minutes from now, and we will bring that press conference to you live. But for now, live at Seattle City Hall, I'm Chris Daniels, King 5 News.
Chris, thank you. King 5's Lionel Donovan joins us live from Tacoma now with reaction in the South Sound.
And Lionel, what are people telling you down there?
Well, from what we've heard, one of the things that makes the death of George Floyd so tragic isn't that it is so shocking, but that it's so familiar. Some of the community organizers and residents that we have spoken to have said that one of the reasons why this trial has held special attention for them is because of the fact that the death of George Floyd, the circumstances surrounding his death, is eerily similar to what happened to Manuel Ellis last March. He was also killed in police custody, and video footage emerged showing that Ellis also was pleading with police officers, saying that "I can't breathe, sir." Now that Chauvin has been found guilty of all 3 counts, the spotlight has now started to be turned when it comes to residents here in Tacoma to Washington's leadership to see what can be done in order to bring justice to the Ellis family.
Ultimately, the people in the state of Washington have been demanding justice for Manuel Ellis for quite some time. We have 3 separate videos, 3 independent witnesses. People have marched, people have chanted, people have held up signs, people have demanded independent investigation. And unfortunately, we are so far behind the state of Minnesota. We had a state-sanctioned execution, and that's really what it is, because they were able to do what they did under the authority of their badge. It's what placed them there. It's what pays them, and it's where they're still on paid administrative leave right at this moment. So until there's a prosecution, our state has essentially condoned it, and we're late on actually prosecuting this case.
Now, activists are set to hold a rally here at the Manuel Ellis Memorial in order to celebrate the verdict. However, they have told me that while they do appreciate that Chauvin has been found guilty, that there is still more work to do, not just to make sure that the Ellis family gets justice here in Tacoma, but to address the systemic issues that come with policing across the country. For now, we're live in Tacoma. Lionel Donovan, King 5 News.